We're going to talk about carving. I taught at Wabash Valley College up in Mount Carmel, and Mr. Hare, he took my class. I don't know, he was 80 or 90. Yeah, Bob Hare, huh? Somebody say Bob?
Bob Hare.
Oh, I thought somebody over here said it.
No, sorry, I didn't. I was
okay. Yeah, Bob. He took my carving class. And I had one guy, and he ended up in Outdoor Indiana magazine with his carving. He was kind of a self-promoter, but he was good. He was a millwright or something like that, I think. But,
you helped to get the club started in Evansville, didn't you?
Yeah, we were meeting down at the YMCA, down at the old high school on carpet. We'd have to clean that up. And Bob Caressel, I don't know whether you all know him.
I remember the name.
Yeah, he's
you met him down at church.
Yeah. He took our carvers down and showed us the grotto, whatever it is. He had records for everything.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he was a good record keeper. Okay, the things that I usually talk about here are safety, wood and its characteristic, tools, grips, cuts, types of carving, project layouts, finishes, and sources for materials and supply. In here, the sources of materials, they're all gone. I've been doing this too long. I also taught at Indiana University East. These were continuing educations for people that, just want to keep touch with the university. Safety. I'm going to go through safety because we're going to give you knives, okay? And when you first pick up this knife, the sharps.
Show us an example now before how dangerous they are.
No, we'll go through this again, won't we?
Okay. No justice.
The side that you think is going to be the sharp, which is the curved side, the kind of the belly of it, that's the side you want to put your thumb against. The other side's the sharp side. I just want to say that when we get out so I don't miss it. The other thing, let's see if I can find one here. Okay. Here's a knife, and I'm going to pass this to Warren. Now, in Boy Scouts, we would turn this around, and I'd hand it to him, and I wouldn't let go of it until he said thank you. But you don't make a war out of it, like the boys would try to do. So if they want to tug on it, play around, give it to them. So the best way, in here, so we don't set it down and let the other person, and then you get like Warren and your neighbor. Warren cuts towards his femoral artery. We're on TV, I'm saying.
It's a habit. I like to sit here and hold it like this.
Yeah. So he's going to cut him. But then the guys will be up and they'll be talking with their knife around. But anyhow, that's it.
I know I like to have an. Please stand.
Some people actually put a string on a board, and then when they're cutting towards themselves, they would hit that board instead of their leather, or me. That have cut a lot pretty deep before you get me. You want to keep your hands behind the blade. That's what, if you're going to be here with this chisel, you don't put your hand here and then you're carving this way, because it's going to slip. So you're going to put your hand back here and carve. We have some things to put out on the table too that he has, so you don't cut your paper. And so on those, to hold them down, you're going to go back here and cut this way. Let's see, where are we here? Don't ever force the tool. That's when you're going to cut yourself. If it's not cutting, don't push hard. That's when it's going to slip and it's going to get you. A lot of times you'll get cut right here in the big muscle. For kids. You got a pocket knife. Never drill with a pocket knife. It will fold up, and as you're pushing down on it, you're in the old teacher. And so don't ever drill with one. Let's see. Don't ever carve towards other people. So if you're in a tight group and you're sitting on the picnic table and everybody's watching you carve, stop carving. Because as you're carving away from yourself, they're going to start pointing. How do you cut that right there? And then, their fingers in the chopping block. Don't grab for a drop tool. Let it fall. the doctor we got there that carves with, he dropped a tool every time.
It is.
He's lucky because they don't hit on the tip, so I don't know why. The wood may be more. So don't grab for the drop tools. You keep your work uncluttered in the area around you. Consider your carving area as a shop and follow all general shop safety rules, okay? The characteristics of wood are going to be color, grain, surface texture. I think if you ever worked with wood, you know what wood grain is. The poor kids that are not taking shop now, they're going to use a CNC machine, but they don't know how to put the wood in there with the grain. So they're really missing out. Because that's where I learned everything, was in middle school shop, you know.
Can I tell them about the basswood?
Yeah.
Most of the wood that we carve is basswood. Only thing is you want to use northern basswood because the local basswood, the grain is further apart and it's harder to work with. So northern basswood is better.
Yeah. I think it grows real fast in the winter time and it only has so long to grow, so the in between the growth rings, it puts in a lot of, I call it pith, but that's the center of the.
There's a company in Ridgeway, Illinois that makes ball bats.
Oh,
Dinger ball bats.
out of ash?
Out of ash. And I cut a big ash tree on the farm. So I called them, see if they'd get it. Oh no, they only want northern ash. For that very reason. The growth rings are so much closer in northern ash than they are.
Well, the basswood we get comes from where Highway 41 starts. I go up to, I never can remember, huh?
Marquette, Michigan, Upper Peninsula.
A little closer, clear on up to Carper Harbor.
Okay.
Out on there's a fort that used to guard the people against the Native Americans when they were mining copper. And there's still a lot of copper. I can see them opening that back up. But anyhow, some of the physical things, I've got height in here. You know, I guess this would be if you're going to carve something tall or that. The hardness of the wood. There's a guy in, I never can remember that town. First one east of us, Pillville. What is it? To the east, no. Before there, part of Evansville.
Chandler?
Newburgh?
Newburgh, thank you. I never can remember Newburgh, never have, even when I was younger. He carves cherry, and that is hard wood, but that's what he likes. And yeah, if you go out to the nature center, he's got a towel rack that he carves. He does dragons and animals. I think he had 2 vultures on each end, but he's a good carver.
A lot of people use walnut too, which is not easy to cut.
Walnut will have a grain.
Yeah.
Walnuts, I like to carve walnut. I don't find it that hard, but it will split on you.
Yeah.
You got to watch that. And redwood's good, but boy, it'll split on you. Some of the natures of the grain are whether it's homogeneous grain, in other words, you have the growth rings. Southern yellow pine would not be. If you push enough to get through the growth ring, then you have soft area in behind that. The growth rings are, if you're a biologist, that's the xylem and phloem. One goes up, takes the water up, and the other brings sugar back down from the leaves. Whether it's stringy, a beautiful wood, it's going to be hard, but sweet gum, it's very stringy if you try to do. And you can chew on the sap if you want, if you've been carving too long. Whether the grain's straight or curly, like a burl or I think that's what they're called, on the side of a log. They cut those off. They're very curly. Whether it's close or wide grain, and then the workability. So we carve basswood because it's real easy. Mm-hmm. The people that use power tools, they use tupelo. And tupelo is black gum. It grows around here, but they go down. What's the guy in our club, the sign maker guy? Albie Signs.
Scott Alvin.
Yeah. He went down to Louisiana and he got the bells off of the log. They cut the top log off and it's gone. Well, that bell where the roots are, there's a big solid part in there, and he brought, I don't know, he went down 3 times and brought back like 3 bells each time and had them cut up, and it's very, very light. And basswood, if you use power tools on them, it gets real fuzzy. But it cuts clean with power tools if you use the Tupelo. So the power carvers like the Tupelo, we like the basswood.
He's got a glass at his house, and he's got a camera where he can sit and watch his camera and see everybody out there carving.
Yeah.
And most of everything they got is they carve birds. And you might have seen he had those birds here at the show one time.
Yeah.
He is really good.
Yeah, he and Jules Boulet from Vincennes, if you've heard of him, they're probably 2 of the best carvers, and they're friends also. But yeah, they just do marvelous, life-size hawks, Let's see, the tools. I don't have samples of all the tools, but we have different blades. Okay, a clip blade, that's probably the main blade that's in your pocket knife. A sheep's foot is what we carve with, and I don't have, you have your knife out handy? Okay, here's my toolbox. Everybody brings these things with 50 tools in a big cart. This is my toolbox right here. Anything I've carved up here, I can carve with these 2 tools. A regular knife, and this is the one I believe that is called the the sheep's foot. But it comes down this way, and like I was saying yesterday, this is the sharp side, this is the back. See, I'm rubbing my hand on it. And don't ever take your finger across the blade to see if it's sharp. One good way to see if it has a wire edge on it is to scrape it on your fingernail, though. You're not going to do that fingernail usually.
Here's all the different tools.
But that's a good way. Point, and that's a spay. That's the one that has the curved blade and then down. Okay, you guys probably know what that's used for. And we have a slant blade, and I can't tell you exactly what the slant blade is. Now these same shapes and things, there's 5 ways to hold a knife, 5 ways to 5 ways to hold it, and 5 cuts you can make. So I got 10 things to remember. You want to tell them about the different types of chisels, or pass that around, or anything more on that?
See, there's the different shape of the blade, and then on the back it shows different kind of handles and stuff you can get on.
The curve on the knife, on a chisel, I call that the belly of the blade. Whether it's got a flat one or a more robust one here. The chisel types are, well, let's see.
It's interesting.
There's V-tools, riffers, rasp, scrapers, and planes. Those are some of the tools you can use. And power tools, you probably already know those: drills, bandsaws, power saws, sanders, grinders, chainsaws, routers. Other tools you can use are mallets, clamps, and the benches you work on.
Doesn't Scott teach mainly like a Dremel tool at his class?
You mean Albie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just power tools. And if your hands get too hard to hold a knife, we've sent some of the people out to try to carve with him. We got one guy who's worked in concrete his whole life, and he can hardly move. But he's found power carving, he can handle that. But he's in carving, does a good job.
Yeah.
Won't say names because we're recorded here. Okay. The types of carvings you can do are, this is what is called an incised line. It's almost, you just take the blade and scratch it and draw it in. I'll pass this around in a minute and maybe give a close-up. This is integlo. You know the, fingerlings or whatever they call them at Christmas. They're licorice and they roll them out and have the impression in them. Well, that's integlo. You can have high integlo and low integlo, but it makes a print on the dough, and that's what that is made for. So this is integlo. I can pass that on around.
Is that kind of like chip carving?
No, chip's another one.
Oh, you're going to, okay.
I guess this is what you call chip carving, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, This is chip carving.
Oh, okay.
You have running lines, and they're V-shaped, and all the cuts you make are three-sided cuts down in. There is a name for it. I can't pronounce it because I'm dyslexic. Can you pronounce that word?
We had a couple here.
I doubt it. Schnitzen.
Yeah, I think
Christmas tree ornaments.
Schnitzen, yeah.
Bizarre. Do you remember them?
No,
The German word for this, I think, is Kerbschnitzen, something like
Okay.
that. You know, if you have, let's pass that.
Gosh, I can't think of those people's name, but they went to the state fair every year and had a place up there where they chip carved.
Oh,
All during the state fair.
yeah. I can't carve when it gets hot. My hands swell up and they get sweaty, and I just can't carve when it's cold. I mean, when it's hot. Okay. Then there's relief carving. You can have high relief and low relief. This is kind of low relief because it's down below the surface. But if I cut all the wood around here away, then yeah.
That's relief carving.
When did you do that?
2018.
Yeah. Warren, I want to tell you, he's my best carver student I have. Now, because he follows the plan, lays the pattern out correctly, and then he carves. We have another guy that's excellent carver, but he'll take the block of wood and carve down. His wife won't let him use power tools. And there's a reason why, because he couldn't cut himself in the business he's in.
He was a doctor, so.
I don't want to give away too much. Who knows where this film's going to go? All right.
worldwide.
So there we go. Okay. You can pass that around and take a look at that. Okay. You want to...
Man, that's neat.
You want to do something, and then I'll show them. You can show them.
Well,
tell some of the things that you know.
You mentioned the doctor. My one daughter works in ear, nose, and throat group, and there's one of the doctors, he does lathe work.
Oh.
And the reason is he likes to woodwork, but he doesn't want to use cutting tools because he doesn't want to mess his hands up.
Well, that chisel comes back at you the right way. You got a Zulu spear coming at you, or the piece of wood, boy.
Come flying out.
Yeah.
Do that
A lot of people cut green wood so they don't have that problem of it splitting and flying apart. So far, okay.
Okay. This is called folk style carving. It hasn't got the detail in it, so to me it was easier because you don't have to put all that detail in it. And this is Richard. These story sticks you can get, and like if you want to learn how to cut out a face, you just go step by step to show you how to carve out a face. Okay, I'll go ahead and get into this. Tell them about. We got rough outs. You can buy rough outs that are, okay, this is a rough out. When you buy it, you don't have that much more to do to finish it. Or you can start with a bandsaw and which is, most of these are done on bandsaw.
If you can't tell what this is, I've sold a lot of these. There was the judge advocate of Henderson was a carver, and he had all kinds of these roughouts, and his wife was stuck with all this car. So I went down and bought everything, and then I pieced it all out. It was well worth my time, but I just helped her out. These are supposed to add hands in here, and this is Sandy's the little tuft on the cap, and then here, and then a face and a beard, and his boots are hanging out here. So you have to be able to see what's in there. They also have the patterns and shows you the picture what the end product's supposed to look like. So these are the roughouts. If all we're going to do and you don't want a bandsaw, all I need besides 2 tools is a bandsaw, and you can cut it out. Otherwise, you know, you think of a block of wood and all the carving you'd have to do to get rid of that. That's just work, and you want to get where you're doing the art part. And you can see Warren there. He's got it. I want to tell you, tool and die makers, and Warren was a tool and die maker at one time. They make the best carving. Time. Really, like I said, Warren.
Eagle over there on Wimberg, where you go down and make
Yes.
a shortcut.
Yeah.
Over on Crassville, there's somebody's got an owl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just-
Well, yeah, the owl.
After you
I
turn
see that.
towards the church off that road.
There's another
Yeah,
one
he's got one right there.
between here and Wimberg. It's Winnie the Pooh.
Have you seen that one? It's like 3 houses off of that
Yes,
turn goes
kind of a
past.
totem pole.
I don't know what it is. Out of a stump.
Yeah.
It's somewhat new, but I don't
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
right,
the one on
they must.
Wimberg, there looks like a totem pole.
Somebody in that group of
I think
houses
that's
along there.
chainsaw.
Yeah, it's chainsaw.
Yeah.
And
And-
there was another one, but I think it's gone now. But it was, you go down Crassville and across from the nursing home, there's that little subdivision there. Guy, and another guy who had it done he has a swimming pool, and it was above the fence on the swimming pool. It was a circus elephant. The guy is a Shriner.
Yeah, the lady that had a row of trees, and she was going to cut them down and wanted to know if the carving club would want to come out and have a competition in carving each one of those. She was smart. She was going to get a bunch of carvings for free.
There's one in Henderson, out on the west side, chestnut tree.
Oh,
It moved off, probably 8 feet above ground, and it's a chainsaw, and it was kind of leaning, and it's a kind of an oriental lion thing. Beautiful.
They
And
had a
have
show
that-
on, I don't know, it was public television or whatever, and they'd come in and they'd have competitions with those chainsaws.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be any different carving with a chainsaw if you can just hold that up and not get kickback.
Right.
The same principles would work for that, except those people don't use patterns. They see it in the wood somehow. But
Yeah.
okay,
That one over there, they have it refinished every year. They
good.
go in and take the finish off of it and redo it.
Well, that's what I worry about. The one there on the turn, it's got the eagle. And
Yeah.
It's got some green on it. That I hope they're drilling the bottom so the termites don't get up in there and eat underneath that. You just have a big bag of paint up there.
Yeah, I think something's happened to the guy that lives on that corner, because I haven't seen him in a while, and he had an old Chevy truck and be parked next to the garage. I see him out there pulling weeds
Oh,
in the riprap, and I haven't seen him for a while.
Too hot.
It could be. I don't know if maybe he's got a health condition or what.
The guy across the street from us used to walk his dog, and that dog was so slow. He lay down. He hasn't been doing that lately. I think the dog has passed.
Okay, most of what I got here, I would be looking to this wood carving magazine. I would see something and I like, and I would start. What you do, just like this is going to be a snowman right here. So you get tracing paper, trace it out, and then get a block of wood put your carbon paper on that block of wood and draw around what you want to carve. So you only need really to draw it out on two sides. So you carve, you take it to bandsaw, you cut it, and then you have to tape it back together so it will lay flat again. Then you cut out the other sides, so then that's what you got to start with.
So if you're making a pattern, you would take this silhouette from here and this silhouette from here and put those on the two sides of the block. And that's all you need. And then you cut this silhouette out, and then you cut this silhouette. And you can get the pattern out of books like that. You also can trace one. Like say if I wanted to do this otter, you're going to have to remember where the feet are. You'd put this down, and you can actually close one eye so you don't get that parallax going and the thing jumps on you. But if you're a shooter, you know what I'm talking about there. You get point and close one eye, and it's still on the object. Close the other eye, and it moves. Well, the one that is your dominant eye stays on what you're pointing at. But you can take,
If you see two objects, you just aim in the middle.
There you go. Yeah. And shoot low in case they're riding a pony. Okay. And so you can just kind of hold one eye and you can trace around that. And then on the other side of the block, you can take this and trace that out. And you'll have the proportions of whatever you're copying. Now you gotta, what depends on your skill level, what you do. But that's why we sometimes like to buy these. If you don't, like I was saying earlier, if you don't want to buy the bandsaw and all that, you can buy the rough outs, and you don't have to have all those saws and everything. You can just use, like I do with the knife and this small gouge, and everything here I've carved with that. Now sometimes I'll use a little,
there's a bunch of the rough outs you can get. Oh yeah, there's a lot more than that. If you look up on the internet.
If you want to get a group together and come in here and carve one day or during the day or in the evening or something, we'd be glad to help you. You come out to my house too if you want.
There's something on the other side, Joe.
Oh. Yeah, you only had half of it, Joe. Yeah, I know. I went to the wood turners for a while. And of course, they do like what Warren's got over, well, what you guys have up there. But they'd always be doing this real little intricate stuff. And I'm going, wait a minute. And they use a real nice machine. You can change the RPM on it and this, that, and the other thing. And after a while I thought,
you just want to turn.
It's gonna take me a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got a lathe at home and some knives and or chisels.
Yeah.
And I can do some easy stuff.
If anybody wants to buy a whole shop of tools, I know a person in Princeton. He was a physical therapist, and he wants to sell all these tools. He wanted to break them up.
Yeah.
Because I'd take the bandsaw in a minute, because the carver would get it, but which isn't bad. I mean, he's got all the tools, and I'm sure he kept them meticulous.
Now, as far as the bandsaw goes, does it matter how big it is? Big or small?
Those little tabletop ones, the only one I'd buy is a Rikon, and the smallest blade you can get is about a 3/16. That's almost a quarter of an inch.
An old Craftsman, I think about it.
Yeah, and you can't make a very good turn.
Yeah.
And if you have a three-wheeled one, all you're taking is that blade, and you're bending it extra time, it's going to wear out very quick. If just the two bends will be fine until the weld breaks, and then it scares you to death. You wonder what finger you're going to lose. But
Yeah.
You want to have about 3 or 4 inch clearance for your
Okay.
blade there.
Yeah, and naturally what goes over into the,
Yeah, most time you don't get that far away from the blade, but you got to have that clearance to get it underneath there.
Okay.
yeah. So I adjust it. If I'm carving this out, I can lower it down. If I'm carving this out, I have to go a lot slower because I'm cutting a lot more wood.
Right.
And you want to have a good vacuum on to suck that sawdust out of there. I'm going to also, you got one there?
I was going to show
Okay.
this rough.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
This was bought as a rough out. This one was a rough out, and that one was a rough out. But They don't give you a whole lot of instructions. They just give you pictures to go by when you buy rough.
So you gotta have a bit of imagination too.
Yeah, and that
And a
is
lot of
I
patience.
thought that was more, but there's art, and made sure that I'm not going to cut through the brad nail. So I take these off, and in there, there's take these other parts away, and cut too close to the edge, and I wanted it to stay together. And then you get the roughed out, all the proportions are there. Now all you're going to do is round off all the corners, so there's no corners, and you won't come up bad with a duck. Okay, and here's his head. And you can put that any way you want. You can sometimes bury the bill like they're preening or sleeping, and give them different character. Now, Warren. Oh, and then show you the next step in that. This is the next step. Then I draw where the feathers are. And you get patterns for this. And so if you can draw, I can make you a wonderful carver. Were you a good drawer?
no. But you told me how to do this.
Yeah, but you know, obviously he's figured out how to get past the drawing part. But if you're really, really good at drawing, you can be really, really good carving much quicker. Okay, he followed every rule I said. And so that's what made him the best carver. Some of them are still doing the little cutesy things.
If you take one of these to a big show somewhere, they measure the feathers, see if they're right and how long they are.
If you open the tongue, then everything on the inside of the beak has to be right. So then after this, after you get this part, then you take a wood burner and you burn the individual feathers in. And this one, if you would notice, this one is setting way too deep in the water. This was a mistake, but I finished it on out. That's too much wood to waste.
See how the feathers are burnt in?
Yeah,
Now,
I don't have that kind of patience.
okay. Joe Miner just said he didn't have that much patience. 40 years ago?
Yeah.
40 years ago, he carved this sitting at a picnic table around a campfire and gave this to me. I still got it. That's a symbol. That's a symbol for wood badge. That's basically the highest training you can get in Scouts, I think, for the
I probably
skills.
made, I don't know. I started to say 50 of those. I don't know whether I made that many or not.
Yeah, but you can carve. You know, if you give up all the engines you work on, I could get you to be a really good carver. And I don't know, you know, the others. You'd probably be a good carver. You've worked with wood and stuff so much.
I work with metal.
Metal, okay.
A welder, a driller. I built a 20-ton shop press
Oh my.
and converted a 20-ton bottle jack to work upside down.
Yeah,
And this
cool.
thing is,
I was going to bring my chain tonight. Forgot it.
Did you carve it
I've
one
got
time?
wooden chains.
I told you could
Started out
carve.
about 28 inches and now it's about 33. You take out that much for each link. And then the next year, I did that down at the beach one year. The next year, took a block of wood and carved 2 wooden balls in a cage. And then carved a snap. And that attaches to the chain.
Neat.
You've seen that, haven't you?
I don't think so. I may have, but yeah.
Can I tell them what to do after they get ready to paint?
No, go ahead.
After you get one all carved down to where you want it, you got to get some soap and water and toothbrush and clean it real good. But don't get the thing submerged in water. You just clean it. Let it dry for about a day, and you get some kind of clear sealer, and you seal it real good. Let that dry. Then you paint it with whatever you want. here's the two different kind of paints that we use. They're acrylic. One is a thick one, one thin. You mix it with water. Then, after you get through painting, you seal it again, you know, and it should last you a while then.
Okay. How about that?
I'm gonna go ahead and pass these out while he was talking. And we're gonna get you carving, but I'm gonna show you the 5 cuts that you can make and the 5 ways to hold your knife.
Let me get that paper out. I got.
You mentioned using leather vest or aprons.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
it has a leather pouch on it, but
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, I've come across some hides. I'm not sure how thick they are, but I don't think they'd have to be very thick. And if you think somebody might be
Let me pull that off there
interested
for
in
you.
them,
Don't throw it away because the sticky on that
be able to get the
corrodes the
hides.
metal.
Okay.
for free.
Really?
30 people
Yes, I know exactly where they're at. I've got to travel about 400 miles.
But see, I bought this apron with the leather on it already. You can get, but you can see I have had it before.
Yeah,
If your tool's wrapped that's red gauze like this. Sometimes
Just a
you can
regular
take this and
heavy
wrap it around your
Yeah.
thumb.
Canvas
Because when you're carving
But I
like
would
this, like
suggest that one thing.
Grandma used to peel the apples
Of you.
right towards her
No.
thumb.
But I would
You don't want to
suggest
cut
getting
towards your
apron.
thumb, and I'll show you how to go about that. Just throw those little red things away. These knives were all covered in that, and I had to
Usually when
put
I'm
some
home,
oil and
I'll carve, get chips, I'll
steel
take it
wool to
outside
them
the
to get
door,
rid of
shake
the-
it real good.
yeah.
I resharpened all these, so these are
Yeah, I noticed that.
pretty sharp for me. All right. Now, get my paper out here. At my age, I've forgotten what these are, and I don't want to miss them.
I don't know about these knives, but an axe, you know how you can tell whether an axe is really sharp or not? Hold it up to the light and get the light reflecting on the very edge of that axe. If you see light reflecting off that, it's not sharp. When it's really sharp, there's nothing there for light to reflect off of it.
And that's the best way to do this, and then test it in the wood. Don't do one of these.
Yes.
Because I've seen so many people, they see you testing it that way, because you're going to do that. I don't care what you say. But then a novice picks that up, and they go long ways on that blade.
And
Okay.
This paper shows you the different kind of cuts, the different blades. This gives you a rough idea about good carving.
I'm going to show you on here. Now, this one, I Xeroxed this thing upside down. Let's see. I got to do this like my mentor here. Yeah, and see here. You get that?
I heard that.
I got it.
Okay, I got it now. I'm thought about making you a little extension podium up there, but I'm probably not, because I want to see how long it takes it to drop. Okay. The first one is just like you got a pen and you're going to draw with it. Once you've put your pencil lines on there, pencil lines will rub off this. So I don't know, you just put them away for a year and the pencil lines, I don't know, the wind or something blows them away. But yeah, because you come down. If we weren't filming, I'd tell you why we have yellow pencils. Do you know?
No,
You like trivia like I do, so I'll have to ask me.
I do like trivia. You're
That's
right.
what we're going to
Ask
carve.
me about the yellow pencils. You'll never use one again.
It's pretty easy, Joe.
Some pencils, let me know. School kids leave them up, they end up on the bus.
Yeah. Remember, I was a teacher. I got a drawer full.
I've got a bunch out in the garage.
I put my name on the pencils,
Well,
and I passed out
There's
hundreds
a nice
of them.
little poem there.
Had them made, and good pencils, and put them out. They never stole my pencils because everybody had a pencil around school. and it's applied paper for them. You take away the excuses. It's the teacher, not, and those of you that are teachers out there, you know. So anyhow, you're doing that. It's kind of like the incised line. The next way, and this will gut you, is you're like this, and you're putting that line in there deeper. If I do that, I come out to the side. I come out to the side. With my chainsaw, I always cut to the side, never cut like this. And if you're going to take a big cut out of something, and you're worried, and you are in a table like this, I always sometimes pull the wood back and leave this hand here. You know, you're going to find yourself in a group, and you're going to find yourself carving before you can disperse the group or step back from them. But it's much safer than that. So you just pull the wood back, okay? Which is one of the cuts. This is one of the other cuts you can make, is away from you. You got that one on there twice. But the main cut you're going to make is when you hold the knife like that. You're going to have the most control over it and I put the knife out here in my fingers. I'm not doing it like this. I was cutting meat one day and I was holding it out like this because I'm making a fancy little cut around. My dad came out and told me how to hold a knife. You want to grip that thing and do it, you know, but there are times you have to get it out in your fingertips. But so I hold it out there and I'm going to cut, you know, we're going to peel the potato. But when I do this, I am coming back here, not to my thumb, back to here. Now, you'll do this if you're like me and you've carved, you know, I carved this whole thing out before we could leave. But you're going to make a lot of cuts, and you're going to feel the burn in your arm.
The muscle, I mean.
Pardon?
The muscle, the burn of the muscle.
Yeah, the burn in the muscle and using that.
I can already feel it, and I've only done 5.
I'm thinking about it, and I got a headache. No. So what you're going to do is you do that, and you don't try to take too big a cut, because then you're going to be pulling. And what happens when you pull? You're going to cut yourself. And of course, like we always learn in Scouts, the dull knife is dangerous, the sharp knife is better. Even if you cut yourself, you're going to get a good clean. Instead of ripping the tissue, you're going to cut it. It can be put back together better. So you're going to come in here, and I'm kind of curving up like this, and I can go along here. And then I even come along here and cut it out like this. Got a place a bug or something got in there, so you want to get down below that. And what I'm doing is I'm rounding that off. I'm coming in here, and I'm going from halfway down here to halfway up. And that'll make what's the trim, the quarter round? Yeah, quarter round. That's what you're trying to do, is a quarter round. You're cutting from half here to half here, and that'll round the duck off, like you can see here, from half up here to about halfway down here, and you have that curve. Okay. Anybody wants to carve one of these? These Warren and the other 5 that came out, I said, we're not going to come out there, we're not going to carve cutesies. Okay, those are, well, the angel you're going to carve tonight's a cutie, I think. Yeah, but it's a good thing to start on. You're going to come out and you're going to walk away with a duck. And while Warren was working on his, I'd keep picking his up as mine, as he was down in the earlier stages like this, and I'd pick his up, thought it was mine. So I got to brag on this guy. Okay, so this is one of the main cuts you can make. Now, you can push the knife into the wood. That's one of the cuts. You can rock it back and forth. You can saw it. Or you can, let's go turn the page because I don't want to miss the other one. The other one's slide. See if I can find it here.
This, we had these when we had the show here, and there was 3 of us had one about like offered $40 for these. I didn't want to sell mine.
And the one, our one guy that he called back and forth, he actually has an graphic
Connection getting intermittent.
agree.
But he won't.
Is the light blinking?
Uh-huh.
Plugged in?
Can you hear mine?
Yeah.
Hook to yours.
Oh,
You need the volume up.
Oh,
Oh,
don't touch that.
made the light
What
blink.
happened? Can you talk to your microphone?
I'm talking into the microphone.
I don't know what happened.
but that same guy
Me
that
through here, I can go over.
that same guy that wanted to sell his bear, he made a mouse and put a crease that looked like it was in a mouse trap. Somebody told me somebody bought that real fast.
So he didn't sell it, but he came back and sanded on it and sanded on it and sanded on it. Now if you ask him what's his favorite tool, he'll say sandpaper.
Yeah, on that bear.
Call
Yeah.
him the Sandman. Okay, so we wedged, we rocked, we sliced, we sawed, and then we, let's see, what do I want to call it? Stop cut, okay. Okay, another cut that you'll learn to make. Am I still not coming out?
I think it's your transmitter is below your stuff on the table. It's blocking. Can you put that up higher up?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just clip it to your armband.
So you gotta put the tools down for yourself.
I was waiting, I was just gonna say, I told him before and put it down.
That's why I wear my safety goggles. Can you hear me now?
Say something.
Say something. Say something.
Okay.
We got you now. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I put it. Go ahead.
Okay. The other thing that you can do is, if you got some rough areas, you can scrape too. That's another one of cuts.
When you're scraping, you put it at a 45? Or?
Just straight up. You know, you can go down, but it's going to bite. Now, those are the cuts that you make. Now, this is one thing I want to show you. You're not carving, you're going to be carving on something down on your table, and if you have your chisel, you can look at your drawing, you can start on that, but what was I going to tell them? Senior moment.
We were afraid we wasn't going to have enough knives and stuff, but we didn't know how many to be here.
Well, you never do, that's the part about it.
Yeah. You ever? No, I'm not going to ask that.
We're being recorded.
Yeah, that's right.
Hard time.
Doesn't matter what you think they are.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to do, but you know, this basswood is really nice to cut.
What kind of wood, I was just curious, is this?
Basswood.
Is
Basswood.
that, okay, it feels soft, like,
It comes from the linden tree or linwood, lime tree. It has several names. I may not be right on the genus, but it's like Arcus americanus or something like that, I think.
that sounds about right.
If that's not, then that's a maple that I just said. but that's how you do it. God, what was that? I thought it was important at one time. Oh well.
Well, I have a question on the cutting of this angel here. I'm looking at on the left-hand side, the second one down. Am I reading this right, that you're taking one of these tools here, and you're cutting toward the cut
Yeah,
of the wing, which is, you're defining this as the cut right here. That looks like a cut to me, but are you defining the whole thing as a cut?
yeah. What you need to do is make a stop cut right down here before you start making your other cuts.
Otherwise, it'll slide across it.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
You're coming proximal on the wing.
Yeah, it says cutting to the stop cut. So that's what that is. That's the
So you're
stop
actually
cut.
going to make your stop cut bigger,
Yeah.
because as you're carving, it'll get.
Maybe that was what I was going to show you. A stop cut is like, here, I'm just going to push this in and slice it just a little bit. Now, when I cut along here, that's going to make that chip fly off, and if I don't push too hard, it won't go through and take the wood out on the other side. So I can cut down to where that stop cut is. I can deepen my stop cut, and I can keep cutting down, because that makes whatever cut you're going to do. Now, you have the same cuts with the little chisel.
See, these are stop
You can
cuts right
push
here
it
too.
in, you can rock it back and forth.
That makes sense.
I don't know how you saw with it. You can just definitely scrape with it. And you can go vertical to what you're cutting and push down and make a stop cut and then push into that.
Joe, here's something I thought you might like. All these soldiers. I got
If
four
there's
of
anybody would
them.
rather carve a mouse than an angel, I have some mice here to cut. You can make a church mice.
When you make the stop cut, can you use this tool or can you use both tools?
You can use either tool any way to remove the wood from this point on.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no, if I had 50 different people, they'd go at that thing 50 different ways, and there'd be a little differentiation in each one of these.
They are fun to carve.
So like you're using this, what you'd be doing is pushing in this direction,
Yeah.
because you're always pushing away from
Well,
yourself.
you got to curve toward the stop
That
cut.
was the important thing I wanted to tell you. Okay, y'all want to pay attention to this if you're going to carve it around. If you notice, I have a rounded, let me go on the other side, it's still rounded.
Yeah,
See this
running
rounded surface?
from the bottom to the end of the hand
You
there.
always cut with the grain and downhill.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I come to the top of the hill, that's right here, and I carve down the hill. Do it this way,
So
probably.
I was carving uphill.
If you carve uphill, where's the knife going to go? You're following the grain, but where's it going to go? It's going to plow right into that grain. And if you're up here on the edge and doing some delicate stuff, it's going to pop it right off. So it's only going to go, and
It'll be too deep, is what you're saying. When you hit that grain, it'll be a lot of pitting.
yeah, and it's just almost impossible until you get to end grain. Warren, I think Tuesday was carving. You were carving end grain, weren't you?
Yeah,
Most of
yeah.
the whole time, and that was hard.
All I do is I look at this and the grain's going that way. It looks like
Yes.
I don't have my glasses on. So I keep my fingers behind and I can do this just a little bit at a time.
Yeah. You
Gotta get a
also
better hold of it.
you also can rock that.
Lock it? Okay.
Yeah, I got my knife with me here, so I'm gonna set it down before, when I get close to you.
Don't give me the back, because the wife will ask key questions like, what happened?
What you can do to start that in there is
you've reversed it. That's what I was
start it on one side and go that way. What you carving at this on that like
Well,
that?
no, I couldn't see it. I didn't have my glasses, so
Oh,
no, I had it
okay.
right. So you're saying go in and then kind of flip it?
That's what I do. I kind of started at one side and then I slide.
Oh, okay.
Anytime you're slicing, you'll have better luck, and then you can just keep coming around. Notice how my hand moves.
Yeah.
And I'm holding up in here,
And that's your
I'm
right
holding
hand?
holding it with these two
Right-handed
fingers.
move, you're flipping. Okay.
If you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, I can show you how to do it left-handed. I'm
No,
not that
forget
good
that.
left-handed.
Okay.
And then I can come down and cut these. And if I wanted to do a stop cut, I just rock that back and forth there, and then I could come in here.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or you can do it with a knife. If you're going to cut a long string of these cuts, like if you were going to lay this down, you can cut in there. Of course, he's got that, so you have texture. It looks like feathers. Mm-hmm. You can come along here, and it'll stop at each one.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when you're doing those, you can get a pencil and you want to draw out where you're going to cut, you're welcome to do that also.
See, this is a little bit different than what you're making. Where these lines are at, you want to get that straight knife, I would think, and just cut right where those lines are
Yeah,
at.
but is that going against the grain like you were talking
No,
about this
no,
one?
the grain's going up and down. So,
But you can cut across.
vertical.
You can cut across the grain.
yeah, you can.
You got, well, I was wondering.
Which way you got these things go? Oh, you got them coming out, don't you? If you, I'm gonna put this backwards. If you're cutting this way, then you're going to go with the grain, and you're still going downhill, as if this were the top. Then you see what I'm saying?
I think I do.
So yeah, you would come along here and make that cut, or a series of those, and then you can take this and hollow it out. We had some that had more of a belly to it.
Well, you don't want to go too deep because otherwise then you're going to have
Yeah.
uneven.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You
and,
got
then when you go the other
Yeah.
side,
Yeah. So,
I was a little sloppy,
Okay.
but
well,
Well,
that's
that makes sense, okay.
get that straight
I
knife
think the mouse is
and
much easier
just
to start
run
on.
down over these
Or I get
lines.
something where it's
Okay.
all,
I'm just
And then
curious now.
all,
You
only thing you're
carve
doing
it
is
out
cutting the
to
corner
be like that.
Well, I got to try this because
Deeper
if I
carve
just
than
get to
I've
go
done.
the cut, I'll
Yeah,
have a better
well,
understanding.
Yeah.
It don't matter. This is a little bit different. See, this is
If I
quite a
do
bit
this, I'm
thicker. I
cutting
carve
up,
both
I think.
sides.
Well, you're going with
Is
the
it?
grain either way this way.
Oh, I see, because it's
Plywood?
No,
these
that's
are
walnut.
these are coming
Well, it
this
just looks
way.
like the difference.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would
Makes it look
probably
like- oh, I
turn
see
it
where-
around
Yeah.
this
Almost
way.
looks like
come
plywood.
up in
Yeah,
the
it
corner,
does.
And then I'd come
What
around.
do I know?
Yeah, that
Oh,
way.
okay.
See what I'm
So
saying?
then
I see.
make that
But you're
hair
still with the
a
grain,
little
so
bit
you're
thinner
not,
than the
even
rest
though
of
you're
it.
cutting across.
And
But
then,
as you come across that,
Where this comes out is kind of taper
and
that down to
You
where
might
the
want
arm
to.
is.
wobble back and forth.
wobble it back
Okay.
and forth as
So,
you come,
yeah, you're
come
doing
down
good there.
around.
I think maybe I got my
Because then you
things a
have
little
a
too close
variance in depth
together.
that gives
Well,
it-
your knife
That's
is
what makes it
smaller
look
maybe
like
than what we
feathers.
use on this.
You can cut them straight across
But that's-
and,
that's
and
fine.
put a V in between
Straight
each
out.
feather too.
I hold this in my,
That's good.
with my thumb back here or wherever.
Well, I usually, my thumb's out here.
Right
And then I'm going to put it on the wood to
Oh, as a
push.
brace.
Yeah.
So if I was,
Because, you know,
If I go like
you've had
this,
that
though-
church
Okay,
member
did you-
wants to
have
play
you made
tug of
your
war
stop
with you
cuts?
and just puts it to you, you know what I
Okay,
mean?
well, you didn't have to go
but
quite
I
so,
don't want
but
to
that's
cut
fine,
this way,
that's fine.
I want to cut
But
this way. or-
on where I drew these lines,
But you don't want to,
just get that
cut.
knife,
Yeah, you
make
can
a-
cut towards yourself.
you know, just a straight cut where it comes
You
out
know,
about like that.
If I were to cut towards myself, I'd put my thumb up here.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
then-
what I was
then
wondering.
cut.
When you do the hair, make it thinner, what you're going to do the wing.
Because you don't want any more fingers or thumbs on there than absolutely necessary.
This looks almost as deep
Always
as that.
know where
Well,
you're
yeah,
going
it does.
before you put the pressure on there.
You're right.
I wouldn't want to hold it like this, would I?
Depth
You
to it.
can.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You
Then
know, 'cause
that's the
then this
that's
is
going to
not
be the
gonna be,
pencil for a small
what I'm
and
trying to
sized
do.
line.
But by the
It's a
time you
good
cut
way to
to
mark
it,
out a
it won't
pattern
be
after
that
you've
big,
done
will
the
it?
pencil on it.
Right.
Well, yeah,
And-
that's
and
true.
I carve with a pencil all the time.
These in there.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm wanting to cut something and
Well, that's why you
and
said you
I
like
want,
that-
I'm
you like
thinking
the
and I want to
So
cut
just
over
working
here,
on- I'm just
but I'm
working
cutting
on the
here. I'll
line.
grab my
Yeah.
pencil and I'll just make a mark there, and they'll say,
It
"Why
takes
did
a
I
while,
cut?"
you know.
Yeah, I got you.
It's kind
I got you.
Yeah, I don't want to injure myself either.
of, no use doing that.
That'd be better than having somebody else injure you. wouldn't it?
Well,
This orangish red thing, that's the first aid kit. So I have
Does he think we'll need it?
there's gauze pads in the bottom if you get a.
Where I drew the lines,
Handkerchief.
just get your knife and make a cut.
I've already done that.
Oh, you have, okay.
You know what the mosquito says when it hits an
And
artery, don't
this one
you?
down here.
Abort!
Okay.
Abort!
And he would
So that's-
really
that's-
cut himself,
and then
especially things
taper-
trying to make
Taper the wood to your line you cut there.
towel and wrap it
Right.
around. And I did that,
Yeah.
I was carving with a survival knife.
Like so.
That's
Yeah.
what this carving.
What are you making, a hollowed out canoe?
Anytime I work with carpet, I always end up cutting myself with a razor knife. Not real bad, but, and you know, after a
And-
while, I got
when you make the hair, try to make it a little bit thinner than what the wing is, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Bring the lines
Yeah,
closer.
Yeah.
You guys are really highfalutin. I just try to not to cut myself with the safety razor.
Yeah. And then
Okay, bit of trivia. You ready for a bit of trivia? You know when the X-Acto knife was invented?
A long time ago.
During the Civil War, so they could change blades and then have to stop to sharpen them. They've done soap carving and they've done clay where you can bake the clay when you get done. And it's basically sculpting.
Some people, when they're teaching kids, they use soap and they get a wooden stick and sharpen it.
And they still cut themselves.
what's the soapstone? You ever done any soapstone?
Yeah, I did in geology class one time. I made a snake on a little piece of soapstone.
I've got a pretty good sized piece of soapstone there at the house.
Uh-huh.
I thought about doing
Is it green?
something. Huh?
Is it green?
No, it's kind of gray.
Yeah.
You can buy that to use to mark on metal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When you cut with a torch, it
Yeah.
doesn't disappear.
yeah, that's what we use at the mine all the time, to marker stuff.
You know, they make those magic markers.
Tri-State Wood Carving Club, their show for 2024.
For marking, because if you use the black ones and mark on metal, a lot of times you can't see it.
Right.
Or the silver ones. And they make, I think you can get red ones too.
I'm not part of Facebook. I'm not going to be either. The one guy that works out the pawn shops, the pawn shop down there on whatever street that is. It used to be Market Street or something, I don't know. Dave's or whatever. And he's a really good carver. He teaches carving different places.
I'd like to take you guys down to Parker Island sometime.
Yeah. I could carve my ducks and send them down there. They get a lot more for them down there.
Oh. They've got a museum, and Jeff and Scott and I, my two sons and I went out 3 years ago, and there was 3 of the guys demonstrating, and they actually used draw knives to rough out if they're doing a full-size Canadian honker, they use that draw knife.
That's a lot of wood.
Oh, yeah.
Do they use driftwood sometimes?
Most of what they do down there, they said, was, they call it Tupelo gum.
That's it. It's real light.
Yeah.
It's a swamp tree down in the south.
Right,
We got black gum here in our woods. It's one of our state trees.
right.
But
But they call it Tupelo gum. And that is, if you can understand them. Now, the older ones, they're hard to understand, and I think I maybe told you about them, Richard. They call it hoity-toities. And
they're hoity-toities, or the people coming in shopping are hoity-toities?
No, the wood carvers there are hoity-toities. And their language, if you can imagine a cross between a Connecticut Yankee and a New Orleans Cajun. I mean, you can't understand them.
The southern I was listening to somebody on probably public television, I don't know, and the true southern accent from Georgia, and of course those were colonies of the king, and what they speak is what the Royal English speak. It's a derivative of that. When the guy tries to teach movie stars and stuff.
They, the first time my brother-in-law and his brother, went out there, they were known for their wood carving, and that was before the tourists started going out there. You go over a long causeway just to get out to it. There's one main road down the middle, and then little side streets off on this island. And we're driving down through there looking for a wood carver, and this place looked like it might have been a filling station at the time. There's a sign hanging out there. John Wood. Have I told you about this?
I think that
We go in, walk in with all of these wood carvings, all the way from little bitty ducks about 4 inches long to the full Canadian on the ship. And we're looking around. We was probably in there 10 minutes and nobody showed up. And finally, his wife came over from the house next door. And I don't know if we wanted to see John. Well, we just see the wood carver. And he was working down at the Coast Guard station. He was down there on the porch that day, wood carving. So he came in and started talking like that. He couldn't hardly understand it. And finally one of us said something about the boat builders. Also boat builders on that island. John, what kind of boats do they build here? Them Florida boats. Say that again. Them Florida boats. Slow down, John. I'm not understanding. Them Florida boats. They flare out. Flared. They're real narrow at the front, and then they flare out to support the deck. And that's their